To interface the computer to the spinner, we're going to use the Hagstrom Electronics ME4 board. Now this little circuit board has a output that goes both to a spinner, and which is what we have connected in with the red plug there, and also will go to a trackball. So you can use it for either one. One other thing you need to know is that a couple of things you need to know. So I'm spinning the screen around. There it goes. You'll see that this jumper has got to be set for the spinner to high. There's two settings. The one to the right is to high. The other thing you're going to notice is that I'm using the it in USB mode, because that jumper is not actually connected to anything. And the reason is I'm actually using the USB plug. Now, we'll go over in a second how you have to have your computer configured in order to use it this way. But you could also use a standard mouse type plug. So you just get a dual male-in mouse plug and plug it in on both sides, and you should be fine to run it that way. And I have tested it. It works both ways. So we'll talk about the screens and configuration settings in just a second. But there you go. That's the Hagstrom ME4. Now what we're using for a spinner is a traditional, original Tempest spinner, the kind of you have on a regular Tempest game. And one other thing I want to show is that the connection on this plug is a little strange. So I want you to see, there's a locking mechanism on it. You can see that in the picture right there. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So it's actually supposed to work like it's supposed to. It's just the way that these cables kind of go down into the hole kind of makes it feel a little unusual when you're doing it. So but just know that this is right, okay? So, and you can get the cable. They make the cable that goes between the boards. They make that cable. You can buy that as well. And you can also get one for a trackball if you want to use it with a trackball. But that's it. And then I'm using a standard USB cable, and that's just the standard USB cable you would use to hook up your printer if you had a USB printer or something. So all that stuff's kind of normal. We're back in our BIOS, and we're going to make sure that the configuration is right to handle a USB device in a DOS environment. Now, this comes in and is in this advanced page. You come down here to USB configuration, and you see here where the word legacy USB support is at. That's actually saying, do we take devices that were actually, usually traditionally like a keyboard and a mouse only plugged into a keyboard mouse port, but will we support them when the machine comes up? In other words, it's going to grab it and say, oh, there's a mouse, there's a keyboard. I'll emulate the old way of doing it so that as far as the software goes, it'll all just think it's just an old one. And it's good because if in some of the operating systems, they still come up in the kind of an old-fashioned way. Some of the earlier, operating systems, the 98s and all those, they still were looking for the DOS-type drivers and things like that to come up in the beginning. So this kind of gave them, support. And having this option is really good. I also have turned down the high-speed USB just for compatibility reasons. It's just to be on the safe side. It's not going to hurt anything. It should actually make it work better in some respects. So we've turned off the high-speed USB, which is probably USB 2.0 is what it's probably getting at. And then legacy USB support is enabled, meaning it's going to look for the devices. And then this other thing doesn't really matter. So there we go. Okay, I just want to reiterate that we got the mouse drivers from the link at the bottom of the screen there, and we got the mouse 602 drivers is what I'm using. They seem to be working okay. There's a lot of other mouse drivers at that website. So take a look out there, grab all of them. You never know what you're going to have to run into. What you do is just copy those directories over and then put the links to them inside your autoexec.bat like we have here. So you need to have this right, a driver that works. And it may be a little different for your computer. Maybe one of the other ones works better for you. And also look into the instructions with all those. They've got a lot of information in them. You can do some things like you can control, how fast they go and all kinds of things on them. So find the one that works best for you. I mean, I'm using the 602. It's the oldest one, but it seems like it works real well for me in my particular case. But, you try it out yourself because, you never know how it's going to be. But I just want to kind of cover it again, that these are the two things you need to go over, where it says mouse 602 mouse, and also the one up here where it says set mouse equals C:\mouse 602 \mouse 602. So do those two things, and that should make it work fine for you as far as And then if you have to, test it. Just keep trying until you get drivers that work for you. But I think you'll figure it out. And we're using our Velcro method to mount this board here, and it really seems to hold them in place pretty good. And it's nice because you can take them off if you have to do anything with them, and it's easy to put back on again. So that's my suggestion.